Hey, hello and welcome. Today, I have one of our founding members of our community to celebrate our 10-year anniversary of our membership community, Ivy Tulin. And what we thought we would do is interview 10 of our founding members for a short 10-minute interview just to talk about their practice over the last 10 years in our community. So welcome, Ivy. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thanks for inviting me to put in my 2 cents.
Well, thanks for being one of our founding members and being with us over the last 10 years. It's amazing to have such loyal members like yourself.
I enjoy it.
Let's dive right into, 10 years is a long time to be a part of a community, but it's a long time to be practicing yoga. And I know you practiced before being part of our community as well, but what's changed in your yoga practice over the last 10 years?
Oh my, so much. Asanas used to be my focus. They're not now, although some I enjoy doing. Breath practice has become paramount. It wasn't at the beginning. In fact, I never incorporated breath in my practice. I think that yoga nidra, I see it as a shortened form of the body scan and the earth that we used to do. There are days when that's my main practice. I'm feeling. And if I'm not doing it absolutely right, whatever it is, I really don't care. I'm present. And I'm modifying. Sometimes you give a modification. Sometimes I pick one from something that I know that works that will do the same thing. So I feel a lot more independent in my practice than I may have when we first started 10 years ago.
And I hear also like a lot of softening and acceptance too.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are days when you can't be perfect, and there's really no reason to be anyway.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, I love that. Another thing that I would love to hear about too, because 10 years is a long time to be practicing. As I say, I know you practice longer than that, is, the ebbs and flows of your practice over that time. What are the cycles and rhythms and your experience of your practice over that time as well?
I find that my practices have gotten shorter but deeper. When we first started, it was, an hour-long class and, a 20-minute meditation, and that doesn't always work. And there are times when I wouldn't say that I stopped my practice, but that I would take a couple of days off and refocus and see what my issue was and really listen. Mindfulness has become a very big part of how I prepare for a practice now. Or I would have just hit the screen, picked up class, and gone and done it.
Yeah, so I hear like that there's more space for reflection and contemplation now, without worrying like you have to push forward or whatever. Yeah,
or do it for a certain amount of time or whatever.
Yeah. I feel that in my own teaching too. Like I remember when people would be asking for shorter classes at the beginning when I first started recording for YouTube and such, and I was very resistant to even recording shorter classes. But yeah, no.
I mean, those 4 pose classes that you've been recording have been a godsend to me, because it gives me that time to practice and center and ground when I really don't always have as much time as I'd like to. And I've had to switch my practices around from early morning to later in the afternoons because of the rhythm of our household. So that has been important to me. I would have said my big intention back when we first started, even before we had the community, when we had just the classes that you were giving was to do it every single day, to do a meditation every single day, to do an hour or an hour and a half long class every single day. That was the intention. I can't do that. It's got to be flexible now.
Yeah.
Has to
Yeah, there
work.
was a real inner pusher driving things in the past, right? And yeah, there's a lightness now. I love that. Yeah.
I think I've come a long way with that. And I think that I've seen changes in the community as we've gone through the last 10 years.
Yeah.
What's really important, what yoga really means, has changed definition for me.
Yeah.
It's not an exercise class. It's so far above that.
Yeah, I love what you're saying is that like the flexibility has moved to our mindset as well as our, our practice, which is, thank goodness, right? It's moved to all layers of our,
they change up to the yin, and just the sense of mindfulness that has become more important to all of us over the last few years. I mean, I did number 72 the other day, class. Your favorite class of all time, mine too.
Yeah, it used to be, yeah, for sure. Yeah. At that time.
But at that time it was really, and while I enjoyed it and it was relevant, I find we've come so far from those days. And so, our beginner class people might enjoy those episodes still, but we're in such a different place. I just am so amazed when I look back where we were and where we are now. And
yeah, I feel like some of those core philosophies hold us, like some of those core values, or the core values are definitely still there and holding us. But yeah, there's a whole energy that's completely different now. Yeah, I agree. So when you look back over the last 10 years, are there some favorite moments that you reflect on that stand out to you?
One of the first ones I think that made a huge difference in my life was you and I were trying to figure out what to do with the devotional site, and you insisted that material come from me and not any research that I did, and trying to match a theme up with a program of some kind. And I didn't have the confidence that I needed at that time, but you forced me to do it. And now it's like, well, geez, this is no big deal. I've got 10 minutes. I got a couple of notes here. I know what I want to say, what I've experienced this week, what I'm looking to do next week. That's all I need to say. So,
gosh, I look back on that moment and it's not one of my prouder moments of leadership.
Oh, well.
So I feel like I look back on it and I think, oh God, I was so pushy with her then. I feel shame.
And then I had to screen over here with all my plans. And then
I know you were working so hard then. And I remember really pushing you not to do that now. And I think, God, why didn't I just leave her alone more?
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't have gotten where I needed to get without that.
I know. So that's funny. That's one of your best moments in the last 10 years.
Yeah, because it's given me the confidence to go through and to talk to the community.
Yeah. I know you now. You're yourself. It's beautiful now, and people resonate with you more now because it's you.
And I can do a 10-minute or ritual situation and not feel like I've shortchanged anybody because I'm hitting the high points, and I said everything that I wanted to say, and because I was filming like 30 minutes.
Yeah, because you had to get through everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, all the other stuff that I had to come through, and people don't need that. Like you said, our attention spans get shorter every year.
Yeah.
Working on social media stuff. So people really don't want or need that much. They just want to be pulled out of a hole for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Like you said, right? You like the short classes. Yeah. So that's funny. Isn't that funny? Like your best moment is like my least proud moment in the last 10 years, probably one of my least proud moments.
I went out of that meeting going, oh God, I'm failing at this miserably. This is not, how do I do this? Do I know enough to even be a teacher like this? How can I do this? And the more I did it, the easier it got. And it just was fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately it's really beautiful because it's allowed you have really connected with the truth of yourself, which has allowed everybody else to connect with the truth of you. So yeah, I'm glad. Even though maybe we were both, maybe what is that, doing the clumsy dance, as Jackie says?
Yes.
There. Yeah. It was a bit clumsy for sure. Maybe this is the same thing, but is there something that stands out that you've learned in the past 10 years that you want to?
Yes, something about breath. Because I've had such a difficult time working through anxiety in my life from the time I was little. And I never realized that I wasn't breathing sometimes at all. I never realized the impact that breath had on how I was able to start my day. If I just spent that few minutes after I woke up changing, looking for, watching my breathing patterns. I think that there were many nights when I would wake up in panic attacks, and it was a miracle the night I figured out that the breath practice you had taught that day was working, and I fell asleep. I mean, that was an amazing experience for me.
Yeah,
I struggle, but
I feel like this is something that we're focusing on a lot right now in our community, is like to not discard the commonplace, to really look at the sacred in the common, the beauty in something that we might pass over because it's just so present and so common.
So every day.
So every day, yeah. But that when we really take the time to pause and explore it, that there's so much depth and beauty and resource and life force for us available in it. And yeah, I think there's a real and healing, like you said.
Yeah, a lot of healing and a lot of changing in the way I do intention too at this point, because I used to think that having intention meant heavily planning.
Right.
And that's really a handicap. I always, as a teacher, I always overplanned or missed the main point or taught too much in one session. So to be able to realize that wasn't necessary, that attention could be broader, that I want to be connected to myself, that I want to have a few minutes of peace today, and then see where that went.
Yeah.
Works. And it's different every day. Every day it's different. I sit on that mat. Sometimes I don't want the mat. Sometimes I just want the Qigong practice, the flow, the breath coordinated with it. And other days I need to lay on that mat and do those twists and get back in shape. And, I mean, it's different every single day, but yet it's the same intention.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Is there anything else that you want to say or reflect as we celebrate our 10 years in this membership community at this point?
I'm amazed at how easily people who are new begin to fit in, learn the places on the site. The people who are now just coming in as leaders are already so far ahead of where the few of us who started were when we started. They fit so beautifully. The practices are easy. They understand the goals. They've internalized them. And it makes me feel like I have a strong support team behind me all the time, which is very precious to me, especially through this last year and a half of being stuck with COVID, not being able to go places, to be able to talk to somebody across the world about what I'm going through has been amazing.
Well, thank you, Ivy. I really appreciate your loyalty. You were here since the beginning. You were one of our founding members, and you've seen several iterations of our community in that you actually helped us set up the first site and tested the first site. So you were here before we even turned the first iteration of the community on, which will be having in November, we're going to replay the first retreat that we did in the community. So that'll be fun.
Remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for your loyalty and your presence here for the past 10 years and for being one of our founding members.
Well, thank you for letting us all be here and giving us a place to be ourselves. It's so important.